What up, man? About to get it cracking in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I was early. Come on, man. The longest 1 to 60 seconds. Come on, guys. Let's go. Here we go.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. Your mobile number is either not active or is invalid. For assistance, please contact your wireless service provider. Announcement 13. Switch 1.
So hold up.
What?
Why I can't call from her phone?
Are you on Wi-Fi?
I am.
Are you using the Text Now app?
No.
That's what you got to get.
Oh. Okay. That's funny. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Because I'm like, yo, hold up. We live. What?
Don't be embarrassed.
Okay. So hold up. Let me. I need something to write this number down real quick.
What you mean? Hold up.
Well, you know what? Don't worry about that. I'll just get on Facebook and get the number, man.
You sure?
Yeah, no. We good. Fashionably late, but we good.
Let's count down and everything. We not late. Real Rap Talk Podcast.
You know what I mean? DJ Incredible, K Anonymous in the building.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how y'all doing? Welcome to the show. Got a guest speaker tonight. We setting that up. How's your day? How's things going? It's the holidays. Hope everybody is having a great holiday season, a magical holiday season.
Yeah, all right.
Don't cuss, whatever you do.
I'm not. It's these passwords, man. Okay, we in the game. All right. Yeah, I was wondering, like, yo, that is not going to work. Bear with me. I got my daughter phone, yo. She got apps in different places. I don't even see the app on here. Did she take it off? We gonna fight.
The Text Now app?
Yeah. I don't see it.
Okay, hold up.
Oh yeah, we gonna fight. She is fired.
She might have needed space.
Nah, cuz.
She might have needed space, though.
Hold up. Maybe this it.
It's purple. It says Text Now.
It don't say that, but
what's it say? She probably do got another text app.
Yeah, it's blue. All right, Facebook, why you playing with me? Let's go.
That's why it's called the Real Rap Talk Podcast. You get it all raw, straight like that.
What? Install Messenger? Stop playing with me, man. I don't have time for these inconsistencies. What up, Mr. Haskell?
Okay, well, here.
No. I got it. It's just moving. Things are moving a little slow. Interesting. I could call her from my laptop.
I mean, dude, she got an Apple.
Hold up, we about it's working. Oh no. I don't want to do that. You heard that? That was loud. I felt like we did something wrong. Please don't call that back. That was a mistake. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to. It won't let me scroll up to get the number. Stop playing. How do you get more accents?
What's going on right now?
This is fun.
Fun?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call it fun. Is she trying to call you?
She is. Hold on. Don't do that yet. If you can see me, don't call me yet. I'm trying to call you back from a different phone. Matter of fact, I'm tripping. She got Facebook.
Yeah. Messenger from
Right.
There you go. But this is why we need a tech team. So
Thank you. She just shot me the number. That's what I was waiting on.
Thank you. Send your resume to realraptalkpodcast@gmail.com. You see, struggling over here. We got to put a team together, man. We shouldn't have to worry about these things. Come on over.
This thing talking about a code.
Verification code.
I ain't got time for that, cuz.
You know, they like the verification code you. Everything gotta be verified.
All right, so I'm a little upset with this setup. How? Please explain to me how did this phone even benefits me in my hands if I got to do all this? You didn't know this beforehand?
Who didn't know this?
This phone is no good to me if I can't call. Give me your phone. Thank you. You want to switch? That's that teamwork you was just talking about. Appreciate you. All right, now we're in the game. Hello.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored.
I can dig it. Welcome to the Real Rap Talk podcast.
Okay.
K Anonymous.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Do she sound too far away for you? Or can you hear her?
I can hear her.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
And how do you pronounce your name? I'm sorry.
It's Twilene.
Hi, Twilene. It's very nice to meet you. Welcome to the show.
Okay.
So, I saw. Well, first, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in Ohio. I'm a preacher's kid. Graduated from Brooklyn High School. Went to the University of Akron. I earned a master's degree in education and psychology. And after that, I wanted to do my own thing by having my a building with a desk and, my own clients to be a counselor. And that didn't work for me because God had other plans for me. When I was doing an internship at a mental health facility, it was a friend of mine who had told me about a crisis center that had needed counselors for women, and that's where I went, and I've been there ever since.
That's amazing. So is counseling your calling?
It's a calling, but I do more of spiritual counseling than just regular, clients, that have, mental disorders. But what I do is I help post-abortive women.
I see. So our topic tonight is abortion.
Yeah.
So what do you, I know you say you have you went to school. Do you counsel just young women or everyone or?
Well, I wanted to help women and children who have experienced trauma. That was my area. I wanted to be a psychologist, but like I said, God had other plans for me. But when I noticed that, when I became a client at this crisis pregnancy center, I was seeing actually women who were traumatized and their kids. Some men came through who were, the significant other of the husband, and we would just sit there and talk.
Okay. So what do you want to share with our audience about abortion?
Well, I want to share how it's not what they think it is. It is really horrific.
Let's get into that.
Okay. It's horrific because a lot of African American women are being targeted. As you know, a lot of Planned Parenthood centers are being, birthed in poor, poverty-stricken neighborhoods. And one thing that I noticed, remember if you recall, when George Floyd was murdered and there was this big protest, okay? And we just got tired of the racism. Well, I found out that there were actually racist people who were going to these abortion clinics and Planned Parenthood, donating like $500 or $600 just to kill Black babies.
Oh, wow.
Yes, now that right there was dirty, because some of them are not going to show their actual characteristics in front of you, that they're racist and they hate you. They're going to do it another way. And this is why myself and other pro-life advocates have been, trying to get the word out there to the African American community that it's not like what you think it is. It is worse. And we're trying to get these churches involved to see if they can preach about abortion from the pulpit. I have clients that have actually shared stories with me, and one of them, a young lady told me that when she was in recovery, she saw these shadow figures walking around. Now, you know that there's a connection with Satanism and abortion.
Right.
Yeah, she said that she saw these shadows walking around, and another client said she saw some stuff too. Now, when I found out there was an abortion clinic in California where the employees were actually witches, and what they would do is go out and, escort the patients in, while the church was on the outside saying, no, let's think about it, reconsider. Mm-hmm. They would usher them in as soon as they have an abortion. What they would do is they would take the body parts, take them to the back of the abortion clinic, and have a satanic worship back there in the back. Now, that abortion clinic was closed down, but you never know who's the witch, who's the Satanist that's, using these body parts to appease the devil.
Facts.
There was another guy who used to be a Satanist, and he said that he's a minister now. He said that he got the call one day that he was going to abort a baby. He went into the abortion clinic, and the doctor moved out the way and let him abort the baby. And that right there was sad.
Right.
It's really sad that abortion is tearing up marriages. I tell people that it's really wrong for you to take an abortion secret into the marriage without, first, exposing it, because it's going to show up one way or the other.
Right.
And what I mean by that is a lot of our clients, they have problems running the vacuum, because they said that when they were in their twilight, getting in the middle of the procedure, they would hear this suction noise. And afterwards, it was really hard for them to run a sweeper in their house. And say, for instance, if you go into a marriage and you haven't told your fiance that you had the abortion, it's going to show up. For one thing, he's going to start to think, why haven't you, ran a sweeper in the house? How come you're not doing what you're supposed to?
Right.
And then that escalates into fights and arguments and miscommunication. And she never says nothing. And another thing that we're finding out that women are doing is during the anniversary date, the date that she had her abortion, she's quiet. And she never tells the boyfriend or the husband that, I had this abortion, But he's trying to figure out, why she's quiet. Why is she being quiet all week? Why is she irritated? Or why is she crying? She never says anything. So a lot of that has to do with marriages and relationships messing up.
Okay.
Yes, abortion could definitely be traumatizing. But what do you say for those who maybe they made the mutual decision to have it? Maybe she, maybe the partner knows about it. That would be a little bit different than going into a relationship and not sharing that.
If you have, like I share with my clients, like if your significant other or your husband knows about this, then he's pretty much aware of the times that you need him the most. Like I tell my clients that if you speak up and confess that you've had it during those times when you're hurting, tell them what it is that you need. If you say, okay, look, honey, the month of December is coming up or January is coming up, and I had this procedure during this date. I just need you to sit by me and hold me, or I need you to say something to me. I need you to do this and not do that. And once that period is over with, they go back to, resuming where they picked up before the issue came up.
Okay. That I don't know what to. Do you have a question or do you have a? You on camera? Do you have a question? No. All right. Are there any comments in the chat? Because I can't see those.
No.
There's no comments or anything like that.
Not yet.
All right. And Twiley, where can our audience find you on social media? Do you have a website?
No, I don't have a website. I'm just, Facebook. They can find me on Facebook. I talk a lot about what the post-aborted woman, what she goes through, what she deals with after she's had an abortion. Like many of my clients, they suffer from post-abortion stress syndrome or PASS. And many of them, they suffer from depression. That depression, it really sits deep in there. And many suffer from anxiety disorders, PTSD. They cut themselves. They have suicide attempts. Their suicide attempts are really high compared to those who are in the, heterosexual or homosexual community. Many of them suffer from auditory hallucinations where they hear babies crying, or they can't walk near a baby store in a department store. They can't do it because of that, guilt. Mm. Many of them, they can't cope, or what they do is they turn to drugs and alcohol to numb the pain. Now, I do share with them how abortion is traumatizing to an unborn child. Like when I first started out as a grief counselor, our supervisor had us watch a video of an actual live abortion. And the fetus in the video could sense that something was wrong. Mm. And that fetus did everything it could to avoid being sucked up out of the uterus by the cannula. It was so horrific. And another thing is I try to explain to, the community how abortion hurts the father of the child. He may have asked his wife or significant other, not to proceed with the abortion because he wants to keep the child, but she might, would have been like, it's my body, it's my choice. But, and she goes on ahead and she proceeds, but she leaves him with questions. He suffers from guilt and depression too. It's not just the mother that suffers, the father, he suffers. The grandparents, they suffer. I had one grandparent, she was angry at her granddaughter because she was like, well, she should have asked us for help. We would have helped her, but, I guess the granddaughter didn't need her help or whatever. She just wanted to have an abortion. Grandparents, they feel the pain of abortion too. Right.
So
it definitely affect the families.
What's the connection with that in stem cell research?
Stem cell, I don't know the actual connection because some scientists say that there really isn't, but I spoke with a doctor and they said that they don't use like fetal tissue or fetal cells and stuff in their in stem cell research.
Do you believe that? I don't.
No, of course not. Yeah. They're not going to come out and tell you.
Right, exactly.
Right. This is a very interesting conversation. I never heard of post-abortion stress syndrome. Like you hear a lot of traumatic, because I used to work in a healthcare facility. I used to work around patients, and you see different kinds of things. I've never seen post-abortion stress syndrome. So what might be some signs? I know you said they might be like depressed. What would how would we recognize that in someone?
Well, you can recognize, they're not going to really tell you that they had the abortion that is connected to their depression or connected to the drinking, the drugs. They're not going to tell you that unless they're sitting in front of a counselor and the counselor has ways of getting through to that. Because a lot of my clients say the main reason why they don't talk about it is because people have a tendency to label them as baby killers and murderers. Right. And I try to tell people don't do that because we need her voice to speak up. A lot of these post-aborted women, they're quiet because they don't want to be labeled. And one thing that I noticed another client had told me that before she had her abortion, she went to church and walked up to the altar and prayed and asked God to protect her during her abortion procedure. Now, had she spoke up and said, look, I'm pregnant, I'm thinking about having an abortion, can somebody help me? That's when the church should have grabbed somebody from, the audience who had abortion to speak to her to say, look, I want you to talk to this young lady, just tell her your experience, what she went through, what you went through when you had your abortion. Because sometimes if you talk to them, you can convince them to change their mind.
Right.
Like when I worked in the Crisis Pregnancy Center, that was the problem that many of the clients there struggled with, because I would ask them, if you had went to your pastor, could he have influenced your decision? And they say, no, I couldn't tell my pastor. I'm like, why? I know your pastor, and they were afraid that the pastor would condemn them because, having premarital sex or, whatever, it was. And, many of them, they just keep quiet. They keep quiet in the church, but we need them to speak up.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely, with the church though, like, people are very judgmental. So for somebody who's hiding it, for somebody who maybe be thinking about it, what would you say if she doesn't feel comfortable speaking up in the church? Are there places that they can go?
Well, the Crisis Pregnancy Services in their hometown, they have people there who are trained and know how to, talk, or she can speak to a counselor. I try to get young women to call me on my phone. Now, I do get a lot of phone calls from women who have had it and they want to talk about, their experience, or some. I had one young lady, and this was really sad. She had texted me, and, I'm on the phone. I was like, okay, who is this? And she didn't say much. She said, I noticed that you were on Instagram and you accepted my friend request. And, she left it at that. And I text back. I was like, okay, my name is Twyleen. How can I help you? And, she kind of lingered on. But I knew what was going on until she finally came out and said, I had this done and I'm suffering from it. And, and I just basically told her that you don't have to live with shame and guilt no more, because Christ, he killed it when he went to the cross.
So, are there any known long-term effects from having abortions besides depression? Can you speak on that?
Oh yeah, oh man, yeah, physical. I mean, if you had an abortion and the abortionist he punctures her uterus, you know, she might not be able to have kids, and that's a double whammy. You know, you have to deal with the abortion, then you have to deal with fertility issues, or there are women who have actually died during the procedure, or I mean, scar tissue develops after abortion, also. Oh, and there's another issue. There's not a lot of studies with the link between abortion and breast cancer, but we're seeing cases where women who have had abortions had developed breast cancer later on in life.
Mm.
So they're trying to do a study to do, you know, the direct link.
Okay.
That's interesting. Of all the things that I've heard, I've never heard of that, because abortion is something that we don't talk about.
Right. And it's time to talk about it because it's about to get real serious real soon. Because these late-term abortions, they're trying to fix it where before the baby even comes out the uterus, that the doctor could give her something to kill the baby. And that is real sad. That is real sad.
Yeah, a sedative or something.
Right. She can say, I mean, as she's in labor, she could say, I don't want this baby. And he'll give her something to kill the baby.
So what other women called that when you had the baby at home? What are the wives called?
You talk about a doula or a midwife?
Yeah, a doula. Yeah, a doulas. Yeah.
Okay. Well, doulas are not licensed to do that because it has to be a medical doctor or a nurse practitioner.
But do you think it's gonna be more of those with the information that you're telling me now?
Oh yeah, look at Erykah Badu. What you think she's doing?
Right.
Oh, yeah,
she wants to become a licensed midwife or a practitioner or something like that. So, it's coming. Trust me, it's coming. If we do not speak up to stop this problem, it is going to be torture in the next 10 years.
Yes, I forgot she was doing that. Shout out to Miss Badu. Shout out to her. So really, I mean, I think I understand being pro-life, and I understand the devil advocate of being pro-choice. So how do we stop this? Do we just promote safe sex?
Yeah, I mean, the church needs to get back to teaching God's design for man and woman is to marry, have sex, have children in that order. When it's done out of order, you run into the risk of having abortions and STDs and soul ties or mental breakdowns, stuff like that. But the church needs to stand up. I've been in church all my life, and I compare the old way we did church back in the day to the new, and it is different. Because preachers from back in the day, they did teach about this. They did preach about it from the pulpit. But I don't know what happened to why churches are not, teaching about it now. I don't know. But I'm still doing some research to find out why so that we could come up with a plan.
Personal opinion, if you want to keep people in, and I know a lot of young preachers push for this, out with the old, in with the new. That's what did it. And a lot of people conforming to that. So, it's just like the comment that I make, we don't have enough big mamas in the world now.
Right.
So
and that's true.
Right.
That is so true.
We got to get back to that village mentality of not just minding ourselves, but helping out. I mean, and it's hard because these young kids want to disrespect you and who wants to be disrespected?
Nobody.
Right. And we getting older. We the old people now, so we don't want to have to go through that.
Right, exactly. You're so right. And it's another thing that they're doing is these advertisements. You know, it's really sad because they'll put a billboard up and say, you could go to college. No, you don't have to be pregnant to go to college. You know, abortion is the first choice.
Right.
Well, I thought I knew what abortion was until I found out what it is not. Abortion, for one, it ain't health care. You can't take the Reproductive Act and say it will help poor African American, Hispanic, and Latino women and throw an abortion in there. That's the trick of the enemy.
Right.
And see, that right there, that's one of the false advertisements right there. Abortion is not going to solve financial problems. They'll tell you that, you know, if you're having financial problems, just get rid of the child. No, because back in the day, we have ancestors that had 19, 20 kids, and they did fine.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Abortion is not going to make the boyfriend stay in a relationship with you. We tell them, look, he going to leave you anyways, okay? So your best bet is to have a child, all right? And it's not going to make, you know, a cheating spouse leave his wife to marry you.
Right.
The secret affair with the married man, the pregnancy exposes the affair. And see, that's when you get into, you know, the back to the teachings of, you know, purity and the sanctity of life, the sanctity of marriage.
So do you feel, what about people, because there are people that end up pregnant from rape and incest. So in those cases, would you encourage them to have the baby too, or would abortion not be?
Now, here's how I do it. When there's a case of rape and a woman wants to kill the child, I'll just tell them, why is it that you want to give a license to a child, a death sentence to a child, when it was the father that committed the crime against you? And I also bring up about how, you know, we have relatives that are Indians, and, you know, back in the day, Indians, they married young, okay? You know, couples was getting married, women were getting married at 13 and 11 years old, all right? And if you take her to the abortion clinic to have an abortion, she's going to suffer the consequences later in life.
Don't you think she would suffer trying to raise a child that was a product of incest or rape?
Now, there are statistics that says a lot of women who have been raped have decided to keep their child, but the public, they don't tell you that. They do not share all that with you. They want to make it seem like, you know, abortion is this problem, we need to get rid of it. Just like Argentina, just recently they passed a law, you know, making abortion legal. And the president, what he said was something stupid. He said it was a health problem because too many women were dying from illegal abortion, and that's why he made it legal. I thought that was just ridiculous.
Wow. I'm shocked. I don't even know what to say about
it. It was just ridiculous because, like, really, how could you say that? You're actually hurting her because of all these, you know, issues she's going to experience later on. Now, I do try to tell people the reason why we have to stop pointing the finger at post-abortive women is because you don't know her story. Like, there are 5 reasons why abortion arose. It could have been a parent. She could have got pregnant at 16, but it was the parent that took her to the abortion clinic.
Right.
The boyfriend probably put pressure on her to abort the child, or else, you know, he threatened to leave her. Or, say, for instance, the woman, she lived in another country where they had this one child policy law. And by the time she moved to this country, she probably found out that what she did was wrong. Or like I said, that it could have been, you know, satanic rituals involved, or it could have been anything. So this is why you don't want to just come out and say, you know what, you're going to hell for what you did, and you don't even know the woman's story. Let her tell your story. I ain't saying judge her, but love her.
Right.
hey, something that I try to bring up to people during like World War One and I guess World War Two. A lot of those nurses got pregnant intentionally by dying soldiers. And nobody ever brings that up.
Wow, that's something new that I have to look into because I didn't know about that.
What? Yes. A lot of those women nurses who were working back then got pregnant by dying soldiers or injured soldiers.
So what was the purpose behind it?
Well, if he's dying and she didn't want a father for her child, he on his way out. So she would get on top of him, get pregnant, and or hope to get pregnant and keep the child.
Wow. Okay. I gotta look into that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
new to me.
Oh yeah.
They did a movie about this. I think there was a movie.
It was a lot of that going on.
Wow.
And that was before we had abortion.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That was before we even had abortion was even on the table.
Wow. Well, I know that a lot of women are being deceived about the nature of the developing child. Like, let's say, for instance, people say that a child isn't a child until it takes its first breath.
Right.
After it's born. Well, that's a lie. Okay, because in Genesis 2:7, it says that when the Lord God formed man of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils, the breath of life and man became a living thing. See, conception is an act of God and an action where he allows, the soldier, I tell him the soldier to kiss the egg. And at that moment of conception, the egg is fertilized, and God, what he does is breathe into it, which is a living cell. And that egg, what it does is splits into two, then it splits into 4 cells, and it keeps multiplying until it forms into a human being. Even the skin, which is the largest cell in the body, it continues to grow. Now, those cells, they cannot form into like wood, plastic, or metal, or a piece of paper. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So when they say that, it is so untrue.
So it was the movie The World According to Garth.
Yeah.
Where
his mother did that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was Robin Williams and Glenn Close. She could see with the dying pilot. And Robin Williams was the son. So yeah, it happens, or it happened, I should say. So but I have to get into, like, you understand, you're saying take the choice away from a woman. Like, you choose every day how you wear your hair. You choose every day what you wear. You choose what you want to do, when you want to work. You realize that you're saying take this choice away from this woman to do what she wants with her body.
Well, I think that the thing is that most women are not recognizing that fetus as a human being because they're thinking that it's like a guava tissue or just cells, and they proceed with the abortion. There was a OBGYN doctor, I forgot her name, but she said that she was the same way. She felt that it was just like a cell, a piece of lump of whatever, until things started kicking in. And, God started speaking to her heart. It's not like we're saying, you can't do whatever you want with your body. We're just saying that baby that's inside of you, that's not a part of your body. That baby has its own identity. It has its own blood. It has its own DNA. That's not, your baby. I mean, it's your baby, but it's not like, how can I say it? What's the word I'm looking for? Like, she's giving birth to it like she really does not have a choice over that baby's body. She should give it life instead of saying, well, I'm just going to abort you because you're nothing to me. It shouldn't even be like that.
So I have a question. And this is pertaining to that and the spiritual side of things, right? So
okay.
if we take away all of this, what we consider modern stuff away, and we just focus on someone getting pregnant and someone going inside you and taking out your child, please stress spiritually. Is it considered barbaric?
Yes, it's barbaric. You know why? Okay, yes, it's barbaric. All right. I explain it like this. God is the number one pro-life advocate in the entire universe. He created the heavens and earth. He spoke the world and its contents into being. When he spoke, all things became. God created man in his image. God gave man the breath of life. It was God who created the woman. He blessed the man and the woman and told both of them to rule over the earth and fill it with children. Why would you turn around and take that away? I mean, take measures into your own hand and try to take it away and not even think about God.
Well, I would say we have people on this planet who pretend to be God and make God-like decisions on behalf of a whole nation, and it don't always work out that way.
Okay, that's when you're taking matters into your own hands like that, you have to stand before God, and you will be judged.
Right, but even saying that is why women don't speak out, and it's why women feel so ashamed. It's why women don't. In a lot of cases, I mean, with families, people have mental issues. You're passing that down to your children. If it's a product of incest, there's a high risk that you're going to, your child is going to have defects because it's the same genes, reproducing with each other. So I think it's more about, I'm not saying like, it's not her body, because it is. The child cannot live without her. If she doesn't eat, the child doesn't eat. If she doesn't breathe, the child doesn't breathe. So
exactly.
I think we definitely have to look at the ramifications of what happens after, but I think we definitely have to go on to prevention. I don't think we should be able to take the choice away from the woman, though.
But there are couples out here that are willing to adopt children regardless of what condition they're in, if they're coming out with disabilities. I know families that adopt children with disabilities, and I know some of them that just want to adopt, but if you're aborting, you're really not giving them the chance neither.
I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
So, the same tactics that's probably been going on for a minute now, but as we learn more information, do the tactics to get people like just describing it is not enough. Okay, it's not a deterrent. So we need a clever enough way to make the vast majority of women to say, oh, everybody needs to have that moment. But somebody needs to figure that part out. If you want that culture to change, there needs to be, and then the reason why I'm saying this, remember when we had God in church, in school?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
We always had that where we wouldn't go too far. Right. We was always mindful that there was another power, and that's what we ran with. Okay, well, that's gone. And my definition of what they told me hell was, this is it. Because the gates are wide open. Nobody's afraid of anything other than the COVID-19 all of a sudden. But you feel me? Like there was no fear before that. So in order to put the people back, because they look, the way I look at it, they messed up when they took God out of the equation. Even for the atheists.
Right.
We still needed that because it kept people in check. Now things done gotten out of hand. They needed to put people back in check.
Right.
They gave us COVID-19. Instead of giving us God, though, they gave us COVID-19.
Exactly. And people are afraid. But my thing is that I have videos that I show people. And they're not the ones that you see on the internet. These are very gruesome.
Right.
When I get into these debates with people who are pro-choice, and it's not about a debate. I'm not really there for the fight. I'm there to help the post-abortive women,
right.
Point her back to God and, help her move forward. But when these pro-choice supporters come and they start arguing, and I show them the video, I say, okay, this is what you're fighting for. Some of them actually change their mind.
Right. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yes. They change their mind.
Had an abortion before, though.
Excuse me?
Some of them have probably never had an abortion.
Exactly.
Right. So they don't know what to expect.
Right. So, and it's like me. I've never had an abortion neither, but like I said, when I went to this place and I was trying to figure out how to help these women, I could not relate. I could not say I know how you feel because I never had an abortion.
Right.
I mean, one time I went home and I just cried. And I was like, Lord, what do I say to them?
Right.
You told me to go there. You wanted me to help them. And here you're not saying anything until I ran into one woman. We were at the park and she was telling me how she was a victim. Well, she's a survivor now because I tried to get her to change her words. She was a victim at the time of trafficking.
Okay.
And she had come out of it and she had so many abortions and she wanted to go to church to get rid of that guilt and fear. So she went to the church and she asked the pastor, how do you feel about abortion? Now, pastor told her, I have no respect for a woman who has an abortion. She said she got up and walked out the church and never been back. Now, see, this is where the pastor messed up because had he been praying and asking God to send somebody to help him with his ministry, the ministry would have came through her. Because there are, like I said, there are a lot of women inside the church who are silent. And if she could have got them to speak up, they would have went out and got other women to come and say, look, we're going through this healing group. Come with me. And that thing probably would have expanded. But like I said, that she had these abortions when she was, trafficked into the, sold into the sex industry. And she was dealing with all that guilt. And it was really sad. But she's back in the church now after spending time with her, telling her, that you shouldn't be mad at God because God had nothing to do with had nothing to do with what they did to you. I remember sitting there down and I told her, I said, God created man to make choices to either do good or do bad. It was the people who chose to do bad that did that to you. God had nothing to do with that. So it took some time.
I have another question, but this is a little bit off topic. So how can a pastor it's a two-part question. How can a pastor if you're judgmental? One. And the second part, do you think, because I understand that fatherly mentality and the actual word, they don't go together.
Well, the Bible does come. There are scriptures that said that we are supposed to judge, but we judge righteously. Tell them, point out the sin, say, okay, this is what the Bible said, and leave it up to them. Once we say that, it's out of our hands. But a pastor who judges to judge harsh, something's wrong with that. You lose members if you do that.
So that's what I'm saying. So the scenario you gave, he basically, because of his judgment, he turned that woman away. Doesn't that fall on him? The decision that he made?
On him. You know why? Because maybe, it's like this. He didn't even know her story. And he judged her like, I have no respect for a woman that does that. I'm like, what? What he should have did was just sat her down and just allow her to talk, to get an understanding of what happened and why. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And here's where the judgment come in. The sin because I have clients who, when they first started out, they cannot say the word abortion. They use these words, that thing. Now, when we go through my exercises here, I have them write out, their experience, the events that led up to their abortion. If they can't say the word abortion, they can't move on to phase 2.
Right. Phase
2 is when the spouse or significant other comes in and he listens to their story. If you can't say it, something's wrong, because the Bible even tells us in 1 John 1:9, it says that if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us of all unrighteousness. So confessing that sin, once you confess that sin, you're saying, I recognize what you are because you have a name. I identify you because if you come up again, I know what to do. When you're in that circle of repentance, you're not going back to that sin. And we try to tell women, if you've had one abortion, okay, you can start all over again. God, he forgives after abortion. There's a forgiveness after abortion. Then we tell them, but just don't go back and have any more, because there are consequences for the decisions that we make. So when you're being judgmental by just coming out attacking people for the wrong reasons, you should be looking at yourself first.
Right.
What is it about you that you're hiding, then you're attacking this other person? It's called projection.
Very interesting. Well, thank you very much for helping share some of your message and your words. So if you have something to say to our young women out here, what would it be?
Well, I just want to say to any young woman who has had an abortion that God is still on your side. He knows your name and he wants to heal you. All you have to do is just reach out and say yes. And I guarantee you, that is the first step to deliverance and healing. Don't sit up there and be like, well, I can never tell nobody about my abortion. Like I said, once you confess, according to 1 John 9, God, he is going to forgive you of that sin. We tell other women to forgive yourself for holding on to that anger for so long, the guilt for so long. And I guarantee you, if you look back and tell your past thank you and move forward and trust God, you are going to receive so many blessings. And I guarantee you, it's going to happen.
Thank you very much. And where can we find you on, Ms. Twyleen, where can we find you on social media?
I'm just on Facebook. Anybody can find me.
What's the name on there?
It's just my name under Twyleen Lee.
I saw you had an Instagram too, though.
I have Instagram. It's just all up under my name. It's nothing funny. You just punch in my name, Twyleen, Twileen, Lee, Lee, and my picture will come up.
Okay.
Awesome.
We got you. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, Miss Lady.
Okay.
And dropping those jewels.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll be doing this again. So I definitely will be in contact.
Okay, anytime, and thank you.
No doubt.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Well, I made it through the whole show without cussing. I made it through the whole show without smoking, as promised. And yeah, and it ain't that hard, man. It's my growth. It's real. It's really happening. Now, I'm trying to figure out, because I'm not a Bill Cosby type. Who else do comedy without cussing?
Sinbad.
Right, Sinbad. Okay.
Steve Harvey.
Nah, Steve Harvey say he cuss a
used
little
to.
bit. Yeah, he done.
Used to.
Yeah.
Well, he do cuss.
I'm gonna have to practice on that, man. I'm gonna have to come up with some other words to replace my favorite words that I've been using for so long. That I speak with such passion. I'm gonna have to find some. So to keep me from getting in trouble, I'm not even going to extend this. We got 7 minutes. What you want to talk about? You got 7 minutes.
We haven't never really talked about that before, and that is a real issue today. So that was really heavy.
Yeah, no doubt.
That was a change of pace.
No doubt.
I feel like I got some therapy and some facts and some knowledge. Like I gotta look up this abortion and Satanism and shadows.
But nobody really elaborated. Everybody just sat back and listened. So it was a little bit different.
I've never heard that.
It's a little bit different for me that nobody said anything this episode.
It's taboo though. It's why we don't. It's one of those things that we don't talk about it. But if you don't get the conversation going, you don't get to heal the next person. You don't know what's on the next person's mind. And you don't get to change the course of history.
See, I was about to do it. On the funny side of the game.
Funny?
Yeah, that part where the preacher judged
the lady.
And then said, like, I'm not laughing at her. I pictured that.
Right.
Like you came to him for help. He chastised you and made you feel. I felt that before.
Right.
I came to somebody for help and it went left, and I'm like, yo, but you were supposed to help me.
Right.
You ain't supposed to be doing this.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that. So that's an inside joke with me. Right. For anybody though that needs to reach out or is even in that situation, I suggest you try to find those avenues of getting help or having somebody to talk to about your decision making. I don't want to be a hypocrite and say don't discuss it with the father because situations vary. You feel me? Like what you brought up. What if it was rape or what if it was something else? How do you talk somebody into keeping a child?
Right. Right.
How do you convince somebody?
It's not right. Like it's not a house. It's not a car. It's not something you're going to be able to get rid of. And with the stress and the financial burden that it takes to raise a child, if somebody is not stable,
right.
Women kill. And see, we didn't really even talk about like what's it called? Infanticide. What's it called when the mother kills their baby? Like then you have to look at that. Look at all the women. There's schizophrenics who done had babies.
Right.
There's people who are mentally unfit that done had babies and murdered them.
Yeah, but she said you should be. But then, yeah, okay. And I'm not even gonna say that. When you talk, it goes back to mental health though. Like on that side of the game, our mental health system is jacked up.
Screwed.
Yes,
yeah.
It's jacked up. Like even just for a person to just wake up. That's it. Just wake up and function. Go from 12 o'clock to 12 o'clock. It's hard for some people.
Right.
You feel me? We ain't talking about the whole 365. We just talking about from 12 to 12.
Right.
That part is hard for some people.
Right.
But that's what oppression does. Oppression puts you in a cage where a minute could take an hour.
Right.
And I remember being in that situation where if you could sit there and you go wonder what it's like, whether you looking up at the stars, whether you at the park, just in your thoughts, wherever you at, the way you could get you some me time and action, and it ain't involving no sex. We just talk about mentally, where you could just sit down and think about what, not just the what ifs, not just the dreams, but what is really going on. You see people walking past like ants. Everybody's focused on where they going, but you, what is it about you?
Right.
What are you going to do?
Right. And it's easier said than done to actually go through an entire pregnancy that you think you're about to give up the baby, and then you see the baby.
Right.
There's so, I don't know. That's why we got to keep talking about it, because there's so many different scenarios. There's so many things that come along with that.
We do tap into a lot of mental health. Like all of that falls up under that umbrella. Like no matter what, I still, anywhere that there's trauma, we tackle. So look, with that being said, anybody in the mental health field, if you know anybody in the mental health field, link us up with them, man, because we really need to have someone on the show who does this. Like that's all they do. You feel me? Like we do this as therapy for ourselves and for other people, but to actually get a professional on here one day, or we come to them, eat our oil. My cameras travel, so that would be dope. We need to do that. We need to set that up.
Absolutely.
Look, I'm a busy man on everything I love. Today was a very busy day, but I managed to show up. So people who got excuses, ain't no excuses, man. You don't need no excuses. You are needed more now than ever. And I know it seems like we say this every day and every year, but you got to have that go-getter mentality, man. Dudes can't just sit around and wait. What you waiting for? You know what I mean? You can't do that. Sitting around waiting, not doing nothing, that's death. Think about that for a minute. That's next to death. Why would you want to sit around and wait and do nothing? And it's lame. It's so much to do in the world, man. Like the blessing behind this whole COVID. Y'all better dig a little bit deeper and figure this thing out, man, because I see it. I can't tell everybody, but if you deal with me or we politic, then I'll put you up on game, man. And at the end of the day, it's a lot going on. Y'all need to be figuring it out, man, because y'all voted your boy in. But y'all about to be, now I say y'all because he ain't my man. Y'all about to be dealing with something totally different, and just know because y'all got rid of the last dude that you asked for. And I'm not blaming nobody for their choices. I'm just saying, instead of saying that, you should have ran for president. That's what I mean. If y'all solid, like y'all claim y'all are every day, all the time, you should have ran for president. So we won't be stuck with the same two raggedy choices every 4 years. Every 2 years for all the other parts of this political game that we play. But run for president. Run for city council. Run for senator. Do something. All this complaining, man. Who wants to die? Well, I can't even say that because that don't even make no sense. I'm about to say, who wants to die broke and alone? It don't matter if you dead because somebody else stuck with that bill.
Very true.
But that's lame still. You know what I mean? Get out here and do something, man. Like, I don't know. Always believe. I don't care what it is. You put me in the ring with the best of them, and I promise you I'm going to find my way to come out on top, B. Like, that's just what I do, yo. So, everybody don't have that go-getter attitude, but you have a brain, and if you could process and your learning abilities are standard, then you should do something. We had a C student for a president. Stop playing with me. K Anonymous, DJ Incredible, Real Rap Talk Podcast, man. We'll see y'all Monday. Peace.